Hey guys, this is Elaine from This Luminary Life, and I am getting ready to plan my 2023 garden. Now, I'm so excited to order seeds, I just want to start doing that right away, but I have to inventory what I have already first. So I'm going to open up my container. I don't really have any organization set up. I got this from Tractor Supply Co. like a year or two ago, and I literally just have my seeds in Ziploc bags inside with the year that they're from labeled on the Ziploc bag. So really quickly, I'm just looking at my grow list. It's kind of like my wish list of what I want to plant. And I have a ton of things on here. I'm not going to read all of those. But out of all the seeds I'm going to show you right now, I'm going to just read off what I actually did plant and have success with in my 2022 garden. So last year in my garden, I grew 2 different kinds of squash. I just grew zucchini, and then I grew a winter squash. I grew spaghetti squash. I grew corn. For greens, I had kale, tatsoi, pak choi, and butter crunch lettuce. All of those were great. I had 3 different varieties of tomatoes. I grew Early Girls, Lemon Boys, and Fantastico tomatoes. I grew celery. I do not know the variety. I am so sorry. For basil, I also grew 3 varieties. I had an amethyst basil, a green basil, and the Thai basil. And then I also had 3 different varieties of onions. I think I had the Walla Walla, a yellow onion, and then just a red onion. And then for peppers, I just grew shishitos and jalapenos. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I had in there. Oh yes, so for herbs, I had cilantro and thyme, and also in that bed I had Swiss chard. And I don't have that on this list. At least I don't have it marked that I grew it. I also grew watermelon, and I had great success with that. And potatoes. Potatoes were probably my favorite thing to grow because you basically plant them and let them die, and they just make food. It's really weird, but kind of awesome. So that's what I grew last year, and we're going to see some of those things in here. Full disclosure, my husband and I were living in 2 different states last year, so a lot of the things that I started died, and I had to buy starts for some things. So I had to buy starts for the Thai basil and the amethyst basil, and I had to also buy starts for celery and for, oh my goodness, what else did I have to buy a start for? And for my tomatoes. So the Early Girls, Lemon Boys, and Fantasticos were all starts that I bought from a local nursery. So the tomatoes that I have in here are going to be different varieties because unfortunately those died when I was going back and forth. So again, sorry, there's no organization. Alright, so this bag is from 2 years ago. This bag is from last year. So since these are older, I just want to get into these first and then just see what I have. And from what I have in here, I'll then make a list and I'll inventory how many I have of each seed packet before I have to create the list of what I need to order for the 2023 season. I don't think it's going to be very much. I have a lot of seeds left over. And you usually want to try to buy and plant seed from the year that it's meant to be grown in. I'm going to make a video on how to read seed packets so that you can actually, make sure that you're planting seed for the right season. If you're buying good quality seed, you definitely can plant seed from older years, and so I'm not super worried about having success with any of this. So let's just get started. So first I have arugula. All of these are going to be from the same year because they match the year on the bag that I had written down. So you've got arugula here. I've got pumpkins, jack-o'-lantern variety. I have the crimson sweet watermelon. For carrots, I have the kaleidoscope blend, and I already opened up a packet from last year. And then the packet I didn't open. I suck at growing carrots. Suck. I've never been able to make a carrot survive. That's my goal this year. I want to order 3 varieties of carrots that I don't already have, and I'm praying that I can make those work. So as I'm separating these out, I'm going to start making similar piles within the year of what I already have. Even if it's a different variety, as long as it's the same species, if that makes sense. So here's just a masculine mix of a seed tape. I've never used a seed tape before. This is really crusty and old. I'm probably not going to give space to this in one of my main garden beds. I'll probably just try to start these in a pot and see what happens. This is something that I thrifted on Craigslist because I'm paranoid. And it's literally called Survival Garden Heirloom Seeds. And within this bag, there are 32 varieties of heirloom organic seeds to grow, and I'll just show you what these look like really quick. I'm not going to go through all the varieties on here, but there are small little packets in here that are individually labeled with the seeds. This is something that if you are on a tight budget and you want to try to grow a lot of things, it makes sense to get these. It's Open Seed Vault. I want to say they have an Instagram page or you can get them from Amazon, but it's maybe like 30 bucks for this entire bag and you're getting 32 seed varieties. So you're basically getting like each variety for $1 and you're getting at least 20 of each seed. So, you know, if you are having a small indoor apartment garden or just like a window ledge garden or something, this is not a bad investment. And they have different options. Like they'll have like survival garden, you know, tomato salsa garden, herb garden, like what have you. So that's something I recommend to do. Okay, so I have another spinach seed tape. This is, I think these were gifted to me. Sorry if you guys got these for me as a gift. I haven't used them and they're like 3 years old. So I don't really use seed tape, but I'm putting that in that pile. I have another crimson sweet watermelon because I direct sown these and they did really well. Okay, so these are my zucchini. So squash, I'll start squash pile. I have just the traditional beefsteak tomato. A lot of my seeds come from all over. I don't have specific companies that I order from, so I have a lot of things from Burpee. I have a lot of things from Ferrymore, and a couple different like other mom and pop shop seeds, and then some other more famous companies. So tomatoes, beefsteak. I've got the straight 8 cucumbers here, 2 packets of those. This one's already open, so I know that I did some of that, whatever year this was. I have the mammoth sunflower. I have the cauliflower early snowball Y variety, and then for peppers, I have the pepper sweet rainbow blend, and then I have the pepper California Wonder 300 TMR. All of them have very specific names, and as you get more into gardening, you're going to start to know what varieties of each work best for you. Gardening is very intuitive. It's different for everyone. What might work for me and the things that I've come to develop that just make gardening easy and enjoyable for me might not be the same thing for you. That depends on where you're growing, what location you're in, what zone you're in, how much time you have to spend in your garden. There's so many different varieties. So this is my 2022 list, and I've already done this before the video, but basically I'm just making a list of everything that I have written here. The ones that I have circled, I'm not sure if you can see, but anything that I have circled is what I've already grown last year. So this is the seed from maybe like 3 years ago. So what I would do now that I see this is make a list of however many packets I have of each seed label and write that down so I know not to order what I have enough of and then to put in an order for something that I might need more of. So I'm going to get these guys back in here and then open up the next bag from just last season. This is really helpful to not be wasteful with what you're buying. It's so exciting after just being stuck in months and months of snow to go to the store. Like you walk into Walmart or Home Depot and you're like, oh my gosh, the seeds are here, and you just go ham buying every single seed that you see. That's kind of like what this is. So it's helpful to not do that, to be more intentional and actually have a set plan and goal for what you're going to plant in your space. Planning is everything, and consistency as well. Those are the 2 biggest things for a successful garden. And just once again, I'm not getting sponsored at all. Like nothing about this is, I'm not getting paid to say any of this stuff. This is just what I do. But I do recommend this Open Seed Vault Survival Heirloom Garden Seeds. Even not necessarily for survival. I mean, they're in a Mylar bag, but even not for survival, just to get a garden started on a low budget, this is worth doing. Definitely worth doing if you want to grow a lot of different things. So that was from a couple years ago. And then we're going to get into just last year's. So let's see what we have in here. So last year was my first year of gardening in my massive giant garden. Every year prior, I've always done things in a pot in a windowsill in my house, or on the balcony of like, not balcony, fire escape of a New York City grungy apartment. Let me not say like I have a balcony because I don't. I did have a nice patio once, but that was a long time ago. So let's get into this. So these are the seeds from last year. These were actually gifted to me by my neighbor. This is milkweed. I have no idea what to do with this. I haven't researched yet how to do it, but gotta try to get those pollinators here. So this is milkweed seed that I have directly from just a neighbor. And let's get into these guys. Again, I do not ascribe to any specific brand of seed. I have seed from everywhere, and I'm just gonna lay these all out and, you know, match what I've got. So I've got from Seeds of Change, the Gladstone White Onion. And this is already open, so I'm gonna need to buy more of these. I planted quite a few onions last year. I think I started them a little bit too late, so I didn't have a chance to harvest big ones. I got like little tiny ones. So you just want to make sure that you're following your planting dates for whatever zone that you're in. That being said, onions and potatoes can come in starts, as well as like other vegetables you can buy starts and seedlings for too, but they have like seed onions and seed potatoes. That's much easier to do than starting from seed, in my opinion. This is a much lengthier process. You have to start these like a way out. I mean, they have a 110-day harvest, so it's like you have to plant these a significant portion of time way before you're ready to get anything out of them. It takes forever from like seed to eating them. So onions, this is part of Seeds of Change as well. They have like a whole mix on pollinators, so I bought a ton of these. I'm just gonna make a flower pile. So I have more cucumbers from this year, National Pickling. The other ones are good for like sandwiches and salad. These ones are good for making pickles. So I've got another variety of spinach here. From Burpee Organics, I have the tomatillo. I got really lucky with tomatillo last year. I only actually had one plant, and I had tons of tomatillo, like tons and tons and tons of tomatillo. So you don't really need a lot of these. Like one plant would be sufficient for one person to probably, if you're someone who cans, you can probably get away with canning like at least 10 quarts of green salsa from these. Like it's crazy how much you get. These were pretty cool. So this is from a company called Heirloom Seed, or actually it's Harvesting History, Seeding the Future. So you can go to their website. It's I think just harvestinghistory.com, and they have seed from all over the country that's specific to teaching you about the history of it and like the people who grew and cultivated it. We got these at the Pequot Museum. No, we got these not the Pequot Museum. We got these at the Plymouth Patuxent Museum in Massachusetts. Freaking awesome. So these are the seeds that the Native Americans and early pilgrims would have been growing and sharing with each other. So I have Nicotiana, which is like the tobacco plant. I have a parsnip, and then I also have the gourd, the loofah. So like you can literally grow your own sponges and stuff. One thing that's really great about once you start to know what zone you're in is you can really dial down on the seed that grows where you're from. Like you can't grow everything everywhere. Some things can only grow in certain zones, and this is something that you'll understand more of as you become more in tune with gardening, like more experienced with it. But all this information can be found on Google. Like you could literally be a complete idiot and be like, what do I plant? Like what zone am I in? Like how do I find this information out? We're living in the best day and age to not know things. Like you literally can just type it into a search bar. So don't be scared. Okay, so I have a summer squash, black beauty zucchini. I got 9 of these last year, and I got so many zucchini. My plants actually got from one of the starts that I bought. My spaghetti squash I had to buy as starts, and those plants came sick from the nursery, and they infected all 9 of my black beauty zucchini, and I still had so much zucchini I didn't know what to do with. I maybe should have not planted 9 plants, but I probably will do it again because I eat a lot of it. This is another squash variety. We have the early prolific straight neck, so this is just like a yellow version of a summer squash. I don't eat yellow summer squash so much, so I actually didn't plant any of these last year, and that's why that one is still closed. So we have another lettuce. This is the Butter Crunch. This is what I planted last year. These did great, and this is from the Botanical Interests brand. They're great. They make a lot of organic heirloom seeds, or I should say they harvest and grow. So I have from another Seeds of Change. I have a bunching onion. I planted these last year, and these did really well. I have a ton of them that are just drying right now. More tomatillo. I didn't realize that I bought so many of these. I think I kind of was scared and was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to find tomatillo. We recently left New York and moved to the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, this is not something people eat where I am moving to. So when I was leaving the city, I went a little crazy and bought a lot of those. Alright, so these do grow a lot where I am. So I got edamame, which is just the common soybean, and I did not start any of these last year, so these should still be okay right now. What else do I have? So here's the tomatoes. I went crazy on buying tomatoes. I don't know why I bought so many tomatoes, but I bought a lot of them. So I have the Martian Giant from Seeds of Change, and then I have the Sweetie Tomato from Fairy Morse, and also the Beefsteak from Fairy Morse. I know already that these seeds are going to do better than the ones from the year previously that I went over, so I'm going to try to start all of those and then possibly try to save these for next year, so I will not be ordering tomatoes of any kind. What I may do if my seeds do not start is buy starts from the nursery. I got them from last year. Those are the ones I talked about earlier. I had the Fantastico grape tomato, the early girls, and the lemon boys, and they were fantastic. I have another jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. More tomatoes. I have the Chadwick cherry tomato. I have the Wisconsin 55 tomato. All right, this is my favorite thing ever. And I kind of did the same thing with this that I did with the tomatillo. These are shishito peppers. And we eat shishito peppers like it's nobody's business. We were introduced to these in New York City at a restaurant called Ipudo. And we became obsessed. And ever since then, we've grown shishito peppers. So I probably am going to have more of these in here. I would be surprised if I did not. I grew 6 shishito pepper plants last year. And I would say every single day I would harvest about 18 of them from the whole garden, from all 6 plants. And that would be every single day. So if I missed a day, it was like they quadrupled. It was ridiculous. I had so many of them. My father-in-law is obsessed with them. He's like, I was giving those to everybody. These are highly the best pepper to grow. Like, I didn't even grow bell peppers last year. I only grew those in jalapenos. No regrets. So I got more greens. So I have a, what is this? I cut the name off of this. I'm pretty sure this is rosette. So this is a type of bok choy. This is like an adult bok choy, not the baby bok choy. And then I have the kale. These are both from Botanical Interests. I've noticed that a lot of things that grow in Asian climates also grow where I am, and they usually have been bred to be frost hardy, which is what I need. Like, we're literally sitting in like 3 feet of snow right now. So these did really well. Highly recommend these. Really research your zone. That's the best way to have success. I wasn't even here half the year for my garden, and I had a lot of success last year with just planting the right things. Here's another green set, the baby bok choy, also from Botanical Interests. All of these did so well. Like, I literally planted them, went to New York for like 2 months and came back, and I had like overflowing greens. It was crazy. So from this year, I have the cauliflower snowball X variety. I have the Y from the other one. So I might try to plant both of them. I've never started cauliflower, so I can't speak with any knowledge on this as to if I need the X and the Y to have, you know, cauliflower baby seeds for the following year if I want to seed save. I don't know. I truly don't know. Okay, so I've got more onions here, more Walla Wallas. Those are the ones that I started super late last year. More carrots. So these are the Danver carrots. This is an heirloom variety. Again, I've never been good at growing carrots. I buy so many carrots with hopes that maybe I'll get it together one day, and I just haven't yet. So here's another carrot, the Scarlet Mantis variety, and I have another Danvers half long, and these two are just from the American Seed. I got these at my local grocery, and then these are from Wet Cell Seed. So I try to buy heirloom organic when I can, but sometimes for things like corn, I buy the fake stuff. I know that there are I usually do Bantam sweet corn, which I actually think is an heirloom variety. But I know that there's tons of different species of corn, and whenever I'm reading reviews on websites of people who are trying to plant heirloom corn varieties, a lot of the reviews are just like, we're not used to eating this, and we're not, because we grew up in like Monsanto generation, we're used to eating fake things, so it's kind of like a retraining of your palate to just taste food as it was meant to taste when God put it here. So, okay, for cantaloupe, I have, I'm not sure if you say Hales or Hallie's Best Jumbo, but that's the variety that I have. I started seed from the bag that was in this year of cantaloupe, and they did not do well last year. So I'm hoping that these will grow. These are just from last season. It should be fine. I have turnips. I also did not start these. I bought these at the end of the season. Never grown a turnip before. I don't like turnips, but I'm definitely somebody with gardening that tries to try new things and force my family to do that as well. So hopefully they're going to get that together. I have different types of peas. I have the Alaska variety and the Cascadia Sugar Snap. And usually what I do with these is plant them in any beds that I need nitrogen in for plants that I'm going to have succession with later. So these have a very fast maturation. They usually are 58 days to harvest. So from the moment you put this in soil and water it to the moment you can eat them is 58 days. And a lot of them sprout at the same time. If you leave them in, they will keep producing. But I usually will just plant these, get what I can get, rip them all out, we eat them fresh. I probably will be more intentional this year and plant them in excess so that I can some of these or freeze them for later in the year. But these are great to plant beforehand when you need to fix nitrogen into the soil. They're known as nitrogen fixers. So 2 different varieties of peas. These are labels. I will get into this later. That's important. So more for flowers. I have nasturtiums. I planted these super late last year. They grew just fine, and I got these to deter away from my brassicas. I did not do what I was supposed to do in planting them, so they kind of died, but it is what it is. So I have more butterfly milkweed that's not from a neighbor. This is just also from Seeds of Change. I have a calendula fancy mix here. So these are just my things for, oh my word. These are my things for pollinators. And then these are like my herbs. So I have anise, and then I have Thai basil, which I bought a start for last year because I couldn't find seeds. It looks like this might have gotten a little bit wet somehow. I don't know. I'm hoping that these will grow. Start an herb pile. I have German chamomile heirloom, lemon balm heirloom, peppermint heirloom, and then I also have rosemary heirloom and another shishito pepper. And last but not least, I have beets, Detroit dark red beets. I have a broccoli rabe, which I've never grown before, and I'm looking forward to doing that because I love to buy this and be bougie when I make myself dinner. And then I have the Cherokee purple tomato as well. So I got all of these actually in the set from Tractor Supply Co. and just didn't have a chance to plant these. So these are the seeds that I have on hand. And again, after going through my inventory from seed from previous years, I will write down everything that I have and compare it to my wish list, and then just check off everything on my wish list that I already have and proceed to order what I don't have on that wish list or what I need more of that I'm running out of. So that is what I'm going to do. The next video will most likely be me discussing my unboxing or my ordering of seeds or a mix of both. But just really quickly, I just want to talk about this since this was in that bag. These are bamboo plant labels. You can get plant labels of any material. What I try to do with these is when I'm seed starting, and you have to label them. If you don't use this, you have to label your seeds with some other way to do it. If there's someone else that does it a different way that works better for you, you just have to label them. Don't try to remember them. You're not going to. I don't care how good your memory is, you're not going to remember. So you want to, when you seed start, label obviously like what it is. Like this says cilantro on here for the advertisement. You're going to want to label what it is. You're going to want to label the date that you planted it. And you're also going to want to label on there what year it's from. So your seed will have like on here at the bottom, it'll say packed for 2022, sell by 12/2022, just like an expiration on your food. You're going to want to like also write down the year that it was supposed to be packaged in, so that if, God forbid, whatever reason, it doesn't sprout, you're like, oh, maybe this seed was too old, or you can go back and look at the package and just determine if there was something going on with that lot. And a lot of times the companies who produce these seeds want to know that information if there's something super wrong with it, because I'll do another video explaining how to read seed packets, but the information's on here for a reason, so that if there's something that's like actually very wrong with the seed, it can get back to the company and they can determine exactly where it was grown in their greenhouse and nursery to put out like a recall nationally or whatever, what have you. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to me rant and go through my inventory of seed. I hope this kind of helped you figure out like where to start before you just jump right into ordering tons of things and turning into me with tons of seed that hasn't gotten planted from last year or a few years prior. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you on the next video.